Waves Platform is a decentralized platform with loads of real-world solutions running on blockchain. Wavesnode.net is providing a professional node on the Waves platform, hosted in our own data center. If you are holding Waves tokens, you can lend them with the LPOS system to our big node. The leased tokens are always in your account and under your control. It is like leasing staking power. By leasing on our powerful, stable and trustful node, you are generating transfer fees and will be rewarded with Waves. The bigger our nodes balance, the higher your rewards. Wavesnode.net can help you achieve increasing your stack and making the Waves platform stronger in just a few easy steps. So please, open your Waves Lite client and lease your tokens at wavesnode.net. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at wavesnode.net.
Hello and welcome to Core Radio. We are live here on a Saturday night. It's a little rare, I know, but it's the only time we could organize this, this situation here where one person's on the other side of the world and I'm all the way in New York. So I had an idea one night, right? I was like, we've attacked this every possible way we can, right? Incent, we've heard all the questions in the world. Everybody understands it completely. But as you heard from my last shows, I was really trying to understand more of, understand how a real person could get involved in it. Like a real businessman, a real entrepreneur, business owner could get involved with this technology. And you could understand from my questions in the last interviews that it's what I was trying to get. So I still don't get that feeling, that I understand how a conversation would flow between the seller of Vincent, which is Incent, which isn't really much of a selling point of view, but it's still selling, right? And you got the buyer who wants to implement it into his shop. So today I have brought on an entrepreneur. His name is Vinny. Vinny has a store, a shop. He's the owner of his own business, and he, after I told him about it, he was interested in Incent and using it. So we have Vinny, and now we have Rob, right? And we all know Rob Wilson. He does the AMA. He just did one a little while ago. And we have Rob Wilson on so that he can answer all of this businessman's questions. You guys on with me? Is Vinny there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hey, buddy, I'm listening.
Hey, Rob.
Hello, fella.
Hey, matey. Hey. So I'm really interested in what you got here because I see a lot of applications where I can use your service. So let me just first get something out of the way, and I want to put to you how I see this working. So I'm thinking, right? So I want to make some sales online. Where you are? Where are you, Rob? You're in South Australia?
We're in Sydney.
Oh, okay. Oh, Eastern Seaboard. Yeah, cool. Oh, yeah, you'd have some nice weather.
It's a wonderful country, isn't it?
Beautiful. Very nice. I'm pretty lucky.
Correct.
Let the boys go, and I'm just focusing in on home base here.
And that is the Cofint business.
Yeah, coffee and tea. Now a qualified hypnotherapist.
Good for you. Well done.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, obviously there's.
All right, fellas. So did I miss anything while you guys were gone? Did you guys get to know each other?
Yeah, a little bit. We're we drifted off topic though, so we probably want to set this up again.
All right, so basically, what's going on here is, you know, Vincent is interested in using Incent for his business.
Yeah.
What kind of business is that, Vin?
Oh, well, it's office furniture. So I provide everything from chairs, office chairs, seating, task chairs, visitor chairs, boardroom chairs, meeting chairs, all kinds of chairs, bariatric chairs, saddle chairs, and that's just chairs. And then there's tables, and boardroom tables, and desktop tables, workstation tables, coffee tables, meeting tables, all kinds of tables, and all kinds of frames to go with those tables. And then along with the workstations, we're talking screens, monitor arms, monitor risers, monitors themselves, keyboards, mice. So you can imagine just everything in the corporate environment and anything in a business situation, office business or office situation. I'll provide that. And then also into education, so lockers, student desks, wobbly chairs for special needs, just everything, all kinds of commercial equipment. So I sell
How about those chairs that swing from the ceiling? You know what I'm saying? You put them in the bedroom.
Yeah. No, I don't sell them. No, sorry, Liz.
All right, my girlfriend's getting tired of the tire I'm using. I thought there was an actual chair, you know.
Well, it is. Maybe it's an area that I could look at getting into as well, providing
So
those
Vince,
types
do you
of
rent
things.
do you rent your products out or do you sell them?
No, sell them. So basically, I source and distribute the products. So I find the suppliers. A client will come to me with a need. Let's say they want to fit out their office. They'll say, okay, so I sit down with them, have a consultation with them, and they say, well, I need X amount of chairs, X amount of workstations, and all the bits and pieces to go along with it, CMS or cabling. So the cabling under the desks, the cabling to the wall, through the screens, and that's to provide GPO and networking power. So we discuss all of that and then put it together, and then I go off and find the right suppliers. Obviously, I've already got suppliers on hotline, but there's sometimes where they want something a little bit different, and so I kind of go out there and get that for them. So that's enough about what it is that I provide. What I've been looking at is I want to provide a sticky effect. There's only a small number of us up here where my business is, so I just want to make my service stand out from the rest. And I figured, wow, a voucher system would be perfect. If I can provide my clients with a voucher system, for example, and this is how I was thinking to start off with. All right, somebody spends, say, $1,000, and along with that $1,000, they get, let's say, $100 worth of a voucher, be it, in a token form, so that the next time they purchase, they can redeem their voucher for a discount, or perhaps I can provide them with some things that I could, get from business to business perspective, a bit cheaper, like what the airways do. They say, so many Qantas flyer rewards, and if you've got so many, then you can purchase this, and this. So I was thinking, okay, that's great. What that'll allow, I won't have to touch any of that back end stuff if I've got something like Incent that can work that in the background. And I'm not sure how that is implemented, but that's really what I'm thinking, and I want to know if that's possible, and if it is, how do I go about implementing it?
Okay, so from what I can see from your website, which is, I believe, is cofint.com.au. What I see there is an online shop, but I don't see the means of purchasing online, which is
I've just disabled that. The so that it's a piece of cake to put it back on. I've just done that in the meantime while I've been putting more and more information in there. And so, in fact, what you would have to do is log in to see the prices and to purchase.
understand.
Otherwise my clients, otherwise my competition can kind of see all the prices. I want to make sure that the people who are looking at the prices, I'm capturing their information. I'm capturing their email and who they are, just so that it's not some random other business that's looking to check out my prices.
Sure. Okay. So look, I mean, the good news is that your business is tailor-made to integrate with Incent. And the way we do that is just to either integrate a dashboard into your existing software stack, or you can have a standalone Incent dashboard, and we will, by API link, pull all your product data into our stack. And what that means is that you will be able to, by product or range or even total spend, configure a percentage of the revenue on a transaction to pass back digitally to your client. And that client will receive that value in either a mobile or a web application in the form of a digital wallet, which is like a simplified crypto wallet, very easy for them to understand, and the value that this has been awarded to them is displayed in local tender. And also in that wallet, they will have all of your products will display. So right in
that wallet.
Yes. So within that wallet application,
So
you'll be able to push market.
So it's kind of like so you scrape the information from my site and integrate it into the wallet. Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's absolutely correct.
Ah, that's interesting. I'm not sure if I'd have any reason to be, but so you're grabbing all my information, which ends up in your servers. I'm just wondering if there's anything for me to worry about from that perspective.
Well, bottom line, Vince, is we only see what you release to us. We can.
Well, obviously, I
whatever
want to
what information
everything
you want
to you, because I want to. Every time somebody makes a purchase, I want them to be rewarded, or at least get a voucher, create that stickiness effect. Now, if you're able to take all of my information and host it on your servers, you can effectively replicate my business.
Well, that's right. I mean, the only difference is that that business, it remains yours. I mean, if someone is buying something through their wallet, then there is no means of fulfilling that order without you being on the end of it. And indeed, the wallet, since you are the initiator of that transaction.
So they're no longer at my website, they're now in the wallet.
That's right.
Interesting. So
Well,
there's
the
a big
benefits...
integrity question in that, which is, I mean, that works fine, so long as your business model is fully what's the word? It's about integrity, so that there is no possible way that information that you have just taken from my website or are hosting on your platform, there's no way for any other party to get a hold of that information. And there's no possible way that Incent could, let's say, replicate that website or duplicate it, so that I'm unaware of any transactions that might take place, because it's no longer on my website, it's now on yours. There's no way for me to know what happens because it's your information.
So the first thing that happens is that your dashboard will display to you a complete breakdown of traffic that's coming through us to effectively your storefront. And secondly, there's no way that Incent can fulfill an order without passing it to you. So by this methodology, we remove the need for you to handle the asset itself, i.e. the cryptographic token, or account for it. But at the same time, you've got complete visibility of order flow, traffic, all the things that you would expect to be able to see through your own platform.
Okay, cool. So just moving along from that, okay, so somebody makes a purchase. They've now so they've spent $1,000, and I want to give them, let's say, 10% of that in the form of a token. Now they have a coffee and tea token, which they can use on my site exclusively, or do they have an Incent token which they can use for another business as well as mine?
So at its core, Incent is a cryptographic token which trades on a secondary market and can, in theory, be converted to any other cryptocurrency or indeed back to fiat. The way
What
that
I'm getting at. Sorry, go ahead.
So the way that your business encourages repeat custom is by a secondary control on your dashboard, which allows you to incentivize repeat custom through additional discounts against your products, which is just set on a slider in terms of a percentage.
Meaning that, sorry, that was just a little bit technical for my head, but to break that down, so now they've got $1,000. I give them 10%, so now they've got 100. They've got 100 tokens, or $100 worth of tokens. No.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Okay, 100 tokens. So now they don't necessarily use the tokens on my site to purchase more items. They can actually use those tokens to purchase something outside of my site.
That's correct. They can feasibly convert or transfer that token value back through the Waves exchange, for example. However, your application or the application that we build for you on web or mobile can restrict the customer view so that they can only see your products, or indeed the products of a participating merchant that you consider to be complementary to your product line. That's something that you can configure. But
so you're saying that I can decide what they can spend those tokens on?
Yep, you can have complete control over that, and you can decide, conversely, how much that token value is worth if spent back with your business. So, for example, let's say you had a particular line of chairs that you could purchased cheaply and were available to you, and you wanted to knock out that discount, then there's a control you could set against that product, which makes the token value that your consumers hold worth relatively more against that particular product. And in fact, you can bring that product up to the top line of your consumers' wallet displays so that they're attracted to that product, both in terms of it being the first thing they see, and also it's the relative worth of their token value when spent against that product.
Okay.
It can also be possible for your consumers to buy more token value direct through the wallet in order to access that bargain.
Right, and I would expect that would be something that they would control. They can open up that wallet wherever they want, whether it's on their mobile phone or on computer, and purchase more tokens or such.
Absolutely.
So the thing that really interests me is that I can go into a shop, I can buy some goods, and the shopkeeper can say, "Oh, here's a reward, of a 10% discount for your next visit," and I walk away nice and happy. I've got this nice little. I've bought something. I've got my goods or service, and I've also got a little voucher, so the next time I go to that place, I can get 10% off. And that's very, very simple. I've just walked into the shop, purchased something, they've just given me a voucher, I walk away. And now I'm incentivized to go back to that shop. So you can see that it's very simple in that voucher form, and creates a stickiness for them to come back to me, for me to go back to that shop. Obviously, I would like to replicate that system by using a token system where people can go online, purchase my goods, receive that thing without even thinking about it. They just receive a token, and then that incentivizes them to purchase again at my business online. I'm a little bit confused because of maybe it's because we're talking about the back end as well, from the business perspective, as well as from the customers or clients' perspective. I wonder if there'd be an easier way for you to break those two components down so that it's not so confusing for me.
What you just described there, Vince, is exactly how it works in practice. So a consumer comes to your store either online or in person, they make their purchase, they receive their digital value in a wallet that has your products displayed within the wallet, so they're encouraged to come back to you, and that's that. What you have to ask yourself is a reward that can only be spent in one place more or less valuable to a consumer than a reward that has value beyond the issuing business? What we understand based on our own market research, and indeed the research of other businesses, is that restricting the utility of reward value is a hollow thesis. If indeed, statistically in the US, the average US household is a member of over 20 loyalty schemes, and they only use a couple of them. And that really is demonstrating that the fact that our wallets are filled up with plastic, which really has no value to us, is a hollow thesis. So what Incent says is, what we would encourage our participating merchants to do is to open up that thesis and connect instantly and configurably with other merchants who offer complementary products, in order that consumers receiving reward value from them have some optionality. And that gets them coming back to you because you are the source of that value, not because you are restricting their ability to spend the value that you issue them. That is our core unique selling point.
Right, so at the other end of this thesis, I buy from Woolworths, or I don't know, what's an equivalent, and I can redeem a voucher at Coles. That's the end target. Is that what you're saying?
That is an extreme. That is an extreme example. Let's choose something more complementary. So let's say, for example, a garage or an auto shop where you might go and have your car mended. It encourages you to come in on the back of the Incent reward. Another participating merchant might be a tire shop. The garage may see huge value in making it possible for their consumers to spend the reward that they issue on tires, because it increases the value of the reward to the issuer.
Yes, but
and so that would be a
my point
partnership.
is that there could be 3 tire shops, and they receive the reward from me, and then they go to another tire shop and redeem it there, and I've just lost that sticky, or that reward that I've given them. They've spent it somewhere else.
Well, firstly, Vince, you'll be able to configure exactly what your consumers can see in their wallet in terms of your own products and the goods and services of other businesses. So you can control that.
Okay, so that goes back. Yeah, right. So it does become my personal token, a token so it would be, for example, a coffee and tea token, not an Incent token. Incent tokens would be spendable through the plethora of businesses that are involved with Incent, but a coffee and tea token is only expendable within my range of products that I offer. Is that close?
It's a lot easier to think of Incent just as digital value, just exactly as you would the Australian dollar. So an Australian dollar that you might pass back to your consumers is worth what an Australian dollar is worth in every single business across Australia. But your application, the wallet that you are passing that value back to your consumers in, will only display those goods and services that you sell, and those goods and services which businesses with whom you choose to partner with sell. So it's not the value is restricted only by the total ecosystem which it is paired to, and the size and scope of the entire cryptocurrency market. But what your consumers see is what you want them to see. So you have complete control over the utility of that reward value in the eyes of your consumers.
Right. So there's only one token, isn't there? It's just the Incent token. There won't be a different token made for each business that joins. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, and there's huge value in that, Vince, because what that means is the secondary market is restricted, i.e. of finite supply, and what that means is that a growing number of merchants are providing an ever larger drumbeat of demand on that secondary market, which is pushing the value of that token up to the benefit of everyone that holds that token. So you may find that. So you're going to find that someone that comes and shops with you and spends $1,000 and gets $100 back, when they refer back to their wallet in a couple of weeks' time, it's maybe worth $105 or $110, and that's going to be a huge, have a huge psychological impact on them and get them coming back to you to secure more of that digital value.
And so you're envisioning that the value of the Incent token will increase as well, and which is a little bit of concern because people may just decide to hold on to those voucher tokens, wait for the price to go up, and then sell them for cash or for Bitcoin, for example. What's to kind of stop them from doing that?
Well, since there's nothing to stop them from doing that, and you would, as an issuer of that token, you would want that to be the case, because your consumers will want to acquire more of something that they genuinely value, in the same way as people value an air mile or air miles. And if you are the issuer of that value, guess where they're going to come? Back to you. So it's a completely different notion of or interpretation of loyalty rewards than is currently the case. The current paradigm is all about restricting value to the issuing business, and that causes a huge surge in overhead for the issuing business and a huge reduction in value for the recipient. If you open out the utility of that value in a way that makes sense to your business, you're helping to increase the value of the underlying asset into an appreciating asset. And once consumers cotton on to the fact that by holding their value increases, they'll want more of that digital value, and you will be foremost in their mind through their wallet at the place where they can obtain it. So it's increasing value by opening up as opposed to decreasing value by restricting.
Right. And so, yeah, I kind of get that. With the air mile examples, so with the air miles, you can save those air miles and then redeem them only with that company and the gifts that they will allow you to swap those air miles for, whether it's extra air flights or a set of knives. But you can't actually cash them, from what I understand. Whereas these ones, the Incent loyalty tokens, are basically cashable in terms of being able to sell them for Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency, being an asset that will more than likely be on the Waves platform, which is brilliant. But it will be a tradable commodity of its own. So I guess...
Right, I mean, you make an interesting point there. You make an interesting point there, Vince, about air miles. Air miles are by some margin considered to be the most valuable reward. They have been around since 1986, and it's taken them in the last 40 years to achieve that sort of convertibility, because commercial relationships against a sort of monopoly money, which is essentially what air miles are, take a long time, and they're very sophisticated to negotiate. Incent gives you the possibility as a business to offer an even more valuable proposition to your consumers in return for their custom instantly and configurably. So it is, what we're talking about here is a appreciating asset which is largely convertible, far more so than air miles are. And you can broker a button push the utility of that reward within your local trading community, or the national trading community, or indeed the international trading community. So it's night and day, to be honest with you, in terms of both the utility to the consumer and therefore the stickiness for the merchant at zero cost, pretty much, because there's no infrastructure to set up, there's no accounting to manage, and there's no forward tax liability.
That's a very good point. How does Incent pay its way? How is it able to survive? Because there's no subscription. How is it able to make a profit, or is it indeed designed to make a profit?
So the way that in order that the Incent, if you like, ecosystem operates smoothly and almost instantly in terms of the merchant-consumer relationship, Bitscan, my company, stands by merchants and consumers as the connector or between them and the underlying market. We perform the role of primary broker, and we clip a small transaction fee from on issuance, redemption, or indeed purchase of more Incent.
Right. So, as going back to where we were before, where basically Incent scrapes the information from my site, hosts it in the Incent on the Incent servers, and then when a purchase is made, it kind of allows a transaction fee to take place at that point, returns the transaction back to its origin where it's got the information from. No, I lost it. I derailed my train of thought there. Can you just run us through that step of how the transaction, where Incent makes its profit, and how that whole transaction takes place?
Yes, absolutely. So let's take it from the moment of issuance. So someone's at your point of sale, whether that's online or in a bricks and mortar store, whatever that might be. We insert a webhook into that point of sale, which instructs us to issue the value you want us to a consumer, to a wallet, which we then hook up to the consumer from information that you've gathered, either a mobile telephone number or an email address. So the consumer now receives the reward value you instructed us to issue, less our commission. And you settle with us out of the fact in your local tender. In the case of redemption, assuming the consumer buys through their wallet, you're going to receive effectively settlement for that purchase, less our commission on the reward value component of that transaction.
Right, so you actually get a commission on the purchase.
Yeah, but in terms of absolutely, but in terms of the size of that commission, it's only a commission, small percentage based on the reward component, not the entire purchase. So let's say, for example, someone buys $1,000 worth of product from you, and you issue $100 of reward against that. The consumer is going to receive $97.50.
Right. So basically 2.5% of the reward is what Incent makes per transaction.
Correct. So that is effectively the commission component is cost-free for you as the issuer. That commission is removed from if you like, from the consumer reward component. But on the other hand, if that reward value is spent back with you, then you will receive that reward value back, less the commission. What that means is assuming that every reward dollar that you offer is spent back with you, the total cost to you of operating the Incent loyalty product is 5% on any reward value that you offer. And if you have partnered with other merchants, you're going to hopefully be receiving reward value from their clients, and that's going to be all gravy for you.
Okay. So, so is Incent created at the point of sale to generate tokens relative to the amount of purchase? Basically, what I'm getting at is, like, money is created through debt. Are Incent tokens created through transactions?
No, absolutely not. So what happens is at the moment of transaction, the token value is issued from Bitscan's reserve, and then after the fact, that new issuance is bought back out of the market using another digital currency, in order that the secondary market feels the benefit of every single demand impulse from merchant operators. That is why we, at the completion of the ICO, we will issue or we will create a token of double the size of what we sell in terms of circulation, and we will withhold 50% as reserve. So it's our duty as the primary broker to make sure that the circulation remains relatively static and doesn't grow, in order that the asset value grows as more and more merchants come on board and transact with Incent.
So there is a limit to so it's not necessarily scalable. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. If there's a limit on the amount of Incent that is created, one, that's a great idea, because then the pool's not diluted. But two, potentially there's going to be a limit. Only so many rewards will be able to be fulfilled.
Kind of no, because we're talking about reward value. So let's say on day one, a customer comes in and they spend $1,000 and you want to issue them $100 of reward. That's going to equal, let's say, 100 Incent tokens. In a year's time, when the market for Incent is 10 times as big, then issuing $100 of reward may only require 10 tokens. But since each token is divisible by 10 decimal places, there's an infinite amount of value, that ultimately an infinite amount of value within that token supply. So we're talking about value, not numbers of tokens.
Right. So because it's divisible, where you're hoping that the value of Incent will rise, where one Incent token may be worth the same as 0.1 Incent token a year from now.
Yeah, and look, I can't predict the rate at which the market will grow. That depends on how successful our business development effort is.
Yeah,
But
sure.
it's not there's no hope really involved. As soon as one merchant becomes two merchants, then assuming that they're both doing the same way to trade, then the demand for Incents just doubled, and so on and so on and so on. By connecting a crypto to mainstream commerce, you're effectively connecting, every time you bring a merchant on, you're connecting the demand for the underlying asset, you're doubling it, or you're increasing it by a factor of all your second merchant's customers. And when merchant 3 comes on board, off you go again. So all other things being equal, you quickly distribute in very small packets cryptocurrency into the hands of mainstream consumers without them ever knowing or caring what they're actually holding beyond the value that it represents. So you're very quickly creating a very powerful network effect on demand for that underlying asset, which is not increasing in supply. Right? It's a finite supply, but in exactly the same way as Bitcoin is finite in supply, but almost infinitely visible, then so is Incent. Exactly, just like any other cryptocurrency.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I see that. But let's say, for example, let's take another hard example here. Say I'm not sure what the supply is of Incent, but let's just say there's 1 million. There's 1 million Incent tokens. Next year, or this year, or in a year's time, I sell, say, $10 million worth of product. My clients see that there's a good value in holding on to Incent because it rises in price, and what is worth $1 today might be worth $1.50 a year in a year's time. So they decide to accumulate their rewards. Now, over the year, they've been able to accumulate, because I've sold $10 million worth of product, and I give them a 10% reward structure. So they've now got 1 million Incent tokens. But
Okay,
only
Vince, I'm
1
going to stop you.
million
I'm going to
Incent
stop you there.
tokens were created.
I'm going to stop you there,
Do
mate,
you
because
know what
that's
I mean?
where.
Okay, sure.
So every successive purchase they make from you, they're going to be getting a smaller fraction of tokens representing the same value because the value of the underlying market is increasing. So on day one, for example,
Increasing. Yep, sorry.
so on day one, that $100 may represent 100 tokens. When they come back in a month's time to acquire some more, $100 is going to perhaps equal 80 tokens. And when they come back a month later, it may be worth 40 tokens. Does that make sense to you? The value hasn't changed at the moment of transaction, but the number of tokens required to meet that value or fulfill that value has reduced proportionally to the underlying value of the asset, which is going up all the time based on the accumulated merchant demand for it.
Merchant demand for it. All I'm understanding at the moment is that I'm kind of giving them a 10% discount, and that 10% is represented by one token. Whether or not that token is worth more in the future or not, I'm not sure. Are you saying that every time more Incent tokens are released to the public, they intrinsically become worth more?
Yes, because it's an asset of finite supply floating on a live exchange. So every time a merchant sells something and issues Incent, and that demand is reflected back onto the secondary market, it has to be met by supply. That supply will only be forthcoming at successively higher prices as sellers of that token diminish in response or relative to demand for it. So as the value of the underlying asset goes up at the point of sale for the merchant, delivering the same monetary value to the consumer requires less and less tokens to fulfill.
Can I ask a silly question? What is that value backed by?
Scarcity of the token relative to demand for the token, in exactly the same way as gold or Bitcoin or any other asset of fixed supply works. The more people that want it, the more expensive it's going to become to obtain.
Right, so there's also a matter of creating awareness of the value, in which case I guess you've got a marketing strategy, or will have a marketing strategy in place to ensure that there is an awareness,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
helps us as retailers.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The more merchants that we can bring on, the more latent or the more active demand for that token there is, and the more active demand for that finite supply of token there is, the harder and quicker the value for that token will rise to the benefit of any holders of that token.
Cool. Just lastly, from what I understand, you're going to sell so many Incent tokens, and then whatever is sold, basically half, that will represent half of the tokens on the market. Is that right?
Not quite, Vince. No, that effectively, whatever we sell at ICO will represent the total circulation of Incent. Double that circulation will exist, half of it in the care of ourselves as primary broker. And we require that extra token supply to actually operate as primary broker and fulfill quickly on both sides of the transaction, whether it be issuance or redemption, and account for the time lag between issuance, for example, and merchant settlement with ourselves. It allows us to provide the reward near instantaneously for the consumer and manage that demand back into the market when we have settlement from the merchant in cash. Without that, we can't achieve that primary brokerage service. So the oversupply of Incent is what allows us to assure liquidity at the point of sale.
Yeah, I think I get you. It's a little bit above my pay grade or IQ level to kind of wrap my head around that one, but I think I get what you mean. And to maybe simplify that for myself, let's say you raised $5 million, which I think is your target. There's no set amount.
Sorry to keep stepping on you. Absolutely
no, that's
not.
cool. I need you to explain it, so that's good.
So our target is $1 million, and we're sort of just over 2/3 of the way there. That is the figure that we estimate gives us, a year or two of runway to get the product well established in the market. We wanted to set a cap on investment at ICO of 5 million because that really does get us, to market in very good shape. And any more of that is it can lead to a secondary market, which initially at least is completely overbought, and that can hurt investors in the ICO, which we don't want to do. And it also hamstrings us with a market cap, which can actually deter traditional investors when we come to back to the market to scale. So it's of no interest of us for us to earn, or rather to fund ourselves at a level greater than 5 million. But our target is much less, at 1 million. And as I said, we're nearly 2/3 of the way there. So it seemed like a sensible line to draw in the sand and say, look, in order to protect initial investors in the ICO and provide a strong secondary market, let's put a cap on our investment target right there. And that's also to our benefit commercially when we step into the traditional investment market down the road in pursuit of scale, because we don't have a ridiculous market cap which our own trading books can't substantiate.
Cool. Okay, and lastly, just to completely clarify, I just want to ask you from 3 points of view, and if you could answer these as simply and succinctly as you can, it would be really helpful. So question number 1 is, what is the benefit to Incent? Or what is the benefit to BitScan?
The benefit to BitScan is that is the opportunity to operate a business which is effectively stimulating commerce with cryptocurrency without either merchants or consumers having to understand cryptocurrency. It is the opportunity to be the Trojan horse of the crypto world in getting merchants to happily reward mainstream consumers with crypto. It is hopefully, strategically putting crypto in a position where we are finally reaching mainstream consumers because we're solving a real world commercial challenge, leveraging the benefits of blockchain and crypto technology.
Cool. And what is the benefit to the purchaser?
So from the consumer's perspective, they are getting a highly valuable reward for their custom, a reward that is portable but also appreciates in value. There's nothing else like that on the market.
Beautiful. And finally, what is the benefit to the business?
So from the merchant's perspective, they are now at low cost and low drag, with no overhead or infrastructure or forward accounting liability, off in a position where they can offer a really powerful reward to their consumers, who will be motivated to return to their business because of the value of that reward, not because they're restricted in any way. And the merchant also, by dint of rewarding their consumers, they will have established a permanent digital link to those consumers right into the application that holds that consumer digital value, which they can then leverage to push market goods and services to that consumer on an enduring basis.
Awesome. That's really great, Rob. Thank you so much for clarifying all of that. I can't wait to get this thing off the ground and get some tokens rolling for my business. Because obviously I want to promote it, promote Incent, and promote my business. So I'm really excited about this coming, and I'd hope that it's going to be here soon. I know crypto is a bit crazy like that. They say it's going to be here, this week, that week, next month, 6 months, and next minute it's a year. So I'm really looking forward to finding out when a concrete date of when this will be released. Finally, just to cap it off, what do you hope to earn with a successful launch and a great marketing campaign? What do you expect, or what would you like for Incent to earn over the next 12 months? And I'm talking bottom line, after expenses. What do you see Incent earning as a bottom line in 12 months?
Wow. Okay. So firstly, I want to say I'm hugely, pleased to hear that you're happy, or that you're keen to go ahead, because your questions are really searching, and good for you. Because if over the course of the last hour I've given you confidence to move ahead, then that's great. The second point I would make is that unlike blockchain infrastructure products, we're an application, and that application is largely built. In fact, the core product is built. So we ought to be able to get this to market a lot quicker than you are used to getting it to market. Your final question on earning is harder to answer. You can do the sums based on a 2.5% round turn, as well as I can, and you'll know with the calculator what that means in terms of volume. It's ultimately this is a volume business, in the same way that any credit card or any payment processor's business is a volume business. However, our secondary source of revenue, we are quietly confident will take us through to a point where that commission revenue starts to really bite, because there's a lot of larger entities who need bespoke implementations, and that actually helps us to pay our way until we achieve that sort of crossover with commission revenue. So I think that based on our own projections of projected take up, based on our business development operations to this date, we're fairly confident that we can pay our own way through year one based on bespoke implementations. But I think that realistically, it's going to be the end of year two before we've achieved a scale where commission revenue surpasses if you like, that implementation revenue. So we believe we can be self-sustaining inside a year. We believe that we should achieve
Rob,
that sort of crossover.
Give me a nice round figure. Give me a nice round figure that I can hear, that's going to give me the confidence to invest in Incent, knowing that it's going to make a profit, because you guys have got some great ideas and some great energy behind you. Give me a nice round figure that you guys want to make in the next year.
We think 500,000 is achievable in terms of development, and we think a further 250,000 is achievable in terms of commission revenue in year one.
Beautiful. That's what I want to hear. Beautiful. And would there be any tax benefits to using vouchers, using a system like this? I was just thinking, there must be some kind of tax benefit because it's a voucher, especially here in New Zealand, and I'm sure it's the same in Europe where they've got VAT tax.
That's huge, Vince.
Have you
So
looked at that?
let me walk you through it. So if you're issuing a voucher to somebody that is only redeemable with you, then you have to book that as a liability because it is a liability. It can be spent back with you until it's either spent or you expire its value. So right off the bat, by operating Incent, you as the merchant are avoiding that liability. However, because you are essentially operating a money off or a cashback system for anything that you sell, you can book a lower sale figure for every product, good or service that you sell, because the rest of that value is being delivered off balance sheet. So effectively, your revenue and therefore your tax per sale is being reduced every time you sell with Incent on the back of that sale. So there's both a tax break for a merchant and a reduced forward reporting liability for a merchant. Additionally, if you want to activate a charitable charitable functionality within the wallet application, i.e., if you want to exercise the right for your consumers to forward or on-forward a portion of their reward value to a charity, then there's the potential for a further tax break. So there's all sorts of tax advantages for operating Incent as your loyalty program.
Beautiful. Is Incent registered as you have an ABN number?
So Incent is a product. BitScan is the operating entity, and we are an Australian PTY entity.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. All right, I think I've covered everything I wanted to ask you about tonight, apart from the actual implementation of it. And I guess we can leave that for another day when we're closer to launch. But thank you so much for taking the time, Rob, to explain that to me. I think I've got a much better understanding, a lot better than I had coming into this interview anyway. So thank you so much. And if LooTz is still there, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
I've
been having a great time enjoying you guys go back and forth, been listening and just relaxing, drinking some wine.
Ooh, nice.
So it sounds like you really you guys really got a handle on how it works. I like the tax benefits. I especially like the charity.
Yeah, right. Obviously, I'm a real hands-on kind of person too. It's one thing to hear something in theory; it's another entirely to actually do it. And I'm a real doer, so I can't wait for there to be something I can play with.
Yeah, of course, guys. Look, it's been great for me. It's been I always find these conversations they really infuse me because I've yet to speak to a merchant who, on the back of a conversation like this, doesn't see it the same way and can't see huge practical benefits to their business. However, it's exhausting too, right? And you really put me under the gun there, and that's exactly as it should be. So it's been good fun, and it's been a real mental workout for me too. So LooTz, thank you for giving us the opportunity to have this conversation, and Vince, we look forward to doing business with you, mate.
Yes, me too. Thanks heaps for that, Rob. I really do look forward to it. And coming from the top up here in the Northern Territory, wishing you guys all the best, and hopefully we can meet halfway or somewhere, maybe in Alice Springs. I'll meet you at the top of the hill.
Delighted, mate. Speak soon.
Good stuff, buddy. Thank you.
All right, you guys heard it all there. That's great. And
Waves Platform is a decentralized platform with loads of real-world solutions running on blockchain. Wavesnode.net is providing a professional node on the Waves platform, hosted in our own data center. If you are holding Waves tokens, you can lend them with the LPOS system to our big node. The leased tokens are always in your account and under your control. It is like leasing staking power. By leasing on our powerful, stable and trustful node, you are generating transfer fees and will be rewarded with Waves. The bigger our node's balance, the higher your rewards. Wavesnode.net can help you achieve increasing your stack and making the Waves platform stronger in just a few easy steps. So please, open your Waves Lite client and lease your tokens at wavesnode.net. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at wavesnode.net.